Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the week of April 14th, which, as usual, if you've been watching me, you know it's going to be yet another intense week. And if you don't know, it's because you haven't been watching me. So you want to make sure that you click on that subscribe button down below and go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. There you'll get all of the written content that supports everything that we will be discussing today. So you don't want to miss it. And I'll email it to you closer to the time that it's applicable. So you definitely want to make it easy on yourself and subscribe and then join my website as well. Of course, you can also see my specials for readings out there as well. Since we're still in eclipse season, I still have that special offer out there that you might want to take advantage of. And of course, I do tarot, and you will see the link to the weekly tarot messages at the end of today's session. And of course, I do a message daily as well. So make sure you're joining in and staying up to date on the information every single day, because it's literally changing that quick right now. All right, so I'm going to use this Astro Gold software and I'm going to get us moving. There's a lot to talk about as usual. And the greatest thing here, as we talk about Monday, April 14th, is the fact that now Venus has stationed to go direct and Mercury has been moving forward since the 7th. So last Monday, we were talking about Mercury ending its retrograde. This Monday, we're talking about Venus and the fact that Mercury is about to finish its time in the sign of Pisces today as well. So this is about wrapping up all of the lessons that we've been going through since the early part of this year. Pisces is a sign that is ruling over the 12th house, endings, things that are hidden and unseen, our gifts, our talents, our spiritual gifts, intuition, music, all things that exist, right? That affect us on an emotional level, because Pisces is the sign that rules water. So what have you been experiencing this year so far? What's been under big review since March 1st? Because that's when Venus first went retrograde. And keep in mind, Venus only goes retrograde about once every 18 months or so. So when she does, she spends a long time in a sign to really give us a chance to do the work. What's been unique about both of these retrogrades is they started at 9-10 degrees Aries, which was where we just had the eclipse. So this big story is ready to move us forward in some way. And change is not always easy, and there's some people that don't want change and they will fight it, and that's what this week is going to be about. But here we have this conversation too that will build all week long between Venus and Saturn. So this is where Venus is going to slow down, and so will we, with moving forward. All the things that have been under review, there's still a little bit more work to be done. There's a plan to be made for how we're going to move forward. So hold on, because we're not going to run away from our last lessons with Venus. They're just going to show up in a big, big way this week. So get ready for that. The other thing that we see on Monday, speaking again of Mercury, is it will be in a trine to Mars. And that means information, communication, these things started on Sunday, right, are bigger and stronger. And we can feel very motivated. We can feel extremely emotional. I know Mars is, because it can't wait to get the heck out of the sign of Cancer. And you may be ready to get over all the work that's been going on for you in your life in whatever house that this Mars energy's been in, because of course it's been another of the personal planets that's been in retrograde. It's almost clear of shadow, but not yet. It still has work to do, but it will leave the sign of Cancer this week, and it will make a big show as it does so. So we will be talking about that in detail. And of course, it is still speaking in harmony with the North Node. That has it speaking in harmony with the South Node. So these are things that we're feeling motivated to do that are a part of our path, part of the lessons that we need to learn in order to move forward, in order to leave the past behind. Mars motivates us to do that. Our intuition guides us on the things that we need to do and change and experience. And it continues again, these positive conversations with opportunities with Saturn, with Venus as well. Although Mars is starting to make some space between those, always remember Saturn's 10 degree orb because of the rings that it has around it. So we give it a lot more space before we say that the work with Saturn is done. So Saturn does hold Mars back a bit. Mars doesn't like it. And like I said, it really wants to get out of the sign of Cancer. So again, you may feel yourself trying to rush things because you want this to be over and you want it to be done. But the work that you need to do at the end is the most important work. So whatever you've been working on, whatever you're feeling motivated to do, like I said, don't rush the ending. It's like knowing you have 20 pages left in a book and you just skip to the end because you just got to know what the ending is, but you missed all the buildup, right? So you don't want to miss the end of this work. I promise you, it will be quite a show. Also, this, thankfully, though, Pisces energy from Mercury's perspective, we're done with this. That's also been going on for many months now. So it's slowly but surely going to start feeling just a bit better. All right. That is Monday. So let us move ahead to Tuesday, which hopefully you're not sitting and waiting to do your taxes today, but it is tax day. So make sure you get those done or file those extensions. You definitely don't want to be working on your taxes, but at least things aren't retrograde while you're working on your taxes. So that can be beneficial. All right, so let's look at the energy today. So I had mentioned that here's Mercury, 29 degrees. Remember, 29 is a critical degree. And now there's Mars also at 29 degrees. So these two planets, personal planets, so these is energy that shows up in our day-to-day life that we notice are combining. That blue energy is a trine. It's a helpful opportunity that we want to take advantage of. And as they do that, they are going to create this really brief grand water trine with the moon in the sign of Scorpio. So about midday, this will build in intensity. And again, when there's a trine, especially three planets that make a grand water trine, there's an opportunity that shows up for you. It's an emotional opportunity. It's something that your intuition might just really scream at you to take advantage of. Don't let this pass you by. So if you are offered something today, check in with your intuition, get a second opinion before you make any big dramatic changes. But it looks like there's something very important that will happen on Tuesday, April 15th, with this energy showing up for us. Then whenever you have a planet at 29 degrees, especially kind of a somewhat violent planet like Mars, you're being tested. And it could be just that your temper, your reaction, your triggers may be tested today. And when you pass the test, maybe that's when this trine, this grand water trine, shows up for you in some way that you feel intuitively. You just know, instinctually, you know that something's about to happen. We also have this brief yod. So the moon in Scorpio does not like it there. It's dark. The emotions are really intense and it doesn't feel safe. And the moon's all about safety and security. But it's part of this yod, which is created between the south node, the moon, and then the sun in the sign of Aries. And so there's a choice you have to make for yourself when the sun in Aries is the exit point. At the top of this triangle is the sun, is you choosing yourself. But the helpers, the south node in Virgo, that says how to accomplish this goal you have for yourself, has something to do with the past. And the moon in Scorpio could be revealing some information, a secret of some kind, that with this information made available to you, now you understand what's been going on and why you need to make this choice. So this, like I said, it's pretty brief because of the fact that the moon moves so quickly. But when you have two events, a yod and a grand water trine, both happening at the same time, as the moon is opposing Uranus, something's going on. It could be something financially that's going on. Maybe there is more information about the tariffs and how we move forward, what they're really all about. All of those things are definitely possible on this very eventful day. I mean, just look at this chart in front of you. It's full of activity. So this is a very eventful day. And it's tax day. Woo! All right. Let's just focus on creating what you want, not creating drama, and remembering to choose yourself. But fate is definitely involved when you have a yod and the nodes are activated and the moon's very active. It's an emotional day. Okay. I will stop talking about this forever and ever. The only thing, when we move forward now to Wednesday, that you notice a bit of the intensity, right, has vanished here. That's because the moon has moved on into the sign of Sagittarius. So it's not activating Mars and all the Pisces planets any longer. But Mars is still sitting at 29 degrees. So that's going to continue to be intense. And today we're seeing Mercury join with Neptune. So Neptune in the sign of Aries is associated with wars. The light versus the dark. This was last here, and we were in civil war. With Mercury here, again, more information, since the war that we're seeing, most active is literally a tariff war. Of course, we still have a lot going on in Ukraine with Russia. So something about the battles, Aries, is coming to light today. And remember, Mercury is going forward now over this point. It's been here already twice, once moving forward, now again in reverse, and now for the final time forward. So what is it that you've been working on? What have we been seeing? Are we learning to speak up for ourselves? Chances are yes. Yes, we are. And we may speak up in a very big way. And the conversations and the information that comes to light creates this reset moment, right? Because 0 is the number that is a reset. It's the 0, like for the Fool, which is the beginning of the Fool's quest, is at 0. So there is the beginning of something new, because when Mercury came through here before, Neptune wasn't here yet. So this is something brand new for us to understand and discover. We could see a spiritual leader of some kind take the center stage, or anybody that is stepping up into a leadership role. Could be somebody younger because of this Mercury energy, but something is combined with this Neptune, dreamy, intuitive, and maybe delusional and deceptive, right? So we have to be careful with the information that we learn today and not put on rose-colored glasses and not just give people a pass, right? Because it's easier. It's not. In the end, it's never easier. All right. So we have that going on Wednesday. The other thing that, concerns me a bit is that Mars, when it's at 29 degrees, the last time it was here, the attacks in Gaza were really bad. So this is coming back again, just like we were talking about Mercury. Now, Mars is coming back through here again, of course, now going forward. And there can be resolution. So maybe we really have permanent peace deal going on in Gaza. We can only hope. But this is the end of the story for Mars's time in the sign of Cancer for at least this 2-year period. It'll be another 2 years before it comes back here. And when it does, not going to see the North Node here. We will not see Saturn here. It will be less intensity, hopefully. We can only hope. Okay. But as we move to Thursday, things are kicking up a bit. So we're going to start watching this square that's building between the Sun in Aries and Mars in Cancer, of course. So Mars rules the sign of Aries. So while it's square to the Sun, it's literally telling the Sun, that's my house, and I don't like what you're doing in it. So you need to change. Something, there's a conflict that is building over these few days. It's karmic in nature because now we have Saturn at 26 degrees of Pisces. It's conjunct to the North Node. And of course, that means it's opposing the South. And the South Node and Saturn are very much about past karma, past life karma. And so there is something karmic coming up now. Now, the last time you saw Saturn with the nodes in these signs was 1996. So you can think back if you can remember anything significant going on. But this means that this 19-year cycle with the nodes is coming to a close. That's from 2006. And then we have a 29-year cycle with Saturn. So it could be both years combined. You may have had significant things and done and made significant choices that maybe now you're thinking shoulda, woulda, coulda. Well, you don't have to now. You're more wise because you're paying attention and working with the energy. But Saturn is saying it is time, it's fated for you to set good, healthy boundaries, to have better control over your emotions, to work hard on your gifts, your spiritual gifts, your musical gifts, your artistry, whatever your gifts are. Saturn says you have to do the work. The North Node says, I will provide you with the opportunities, but you have to pass the test. You have to let go of the past in order to see this door open for you. So there's something that's going on for the next several days. Venus will also join in. That is a big deal. We'll see it in the collective, and you may see it in your own individual life, especially if this is happening for you like it is for me on personal planets in the sign of Pisces. So I'm really looking forward to this week. Gosh. Yes, even I sit and go, am I wearing rose-colored glasses? Is everything going to be okay? Happens to all of us. So, other things, speaking of Venus joining in today, Venus is speaking in harmony also exactly now with Uranus. So there can be more craziness going on in the market. It could be good crazy, right? All of a sudden, here's the time when we're rebounding back. Maybe there's been some resolution to all of the conflicts and all of the tariffs. And so when Venus and Uranus combine, again, that brings a little bit of crazy to love, to money, to beauty. So don't do anything. Even though it's a positive connection, it's still unpredictable. That's the thing about Uranus energy. It's very unpredictable. And we're just starting to enter into when Uranus is, again, speaking in harmony with the North and South Node. So this is going to be one of those times where it's all about serendipity, right? It is synchronicities. It's things that change like that, because Uranus does the unexpected, and the unexpected things that change right now are fated, right? So this is just starting, and we're just going to have to keep an eye out, but things are going to continue to be a little crazy and wild for sure. So don't hold yourself too tightly to your expectations, right? That you can only do these things at this time. Not when Uranus is activated. You've got to have a lot more flexibility and make sure you're going to go with the flow. Be really, really important right now. Okay. On Friday, dun, da, 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 you will probably hear a big roar of the lion because Mars is done with its time in Cancer, and every Cancer person I know now says, thank you. Move on. Get away from me. It's been exhausting. So now, too, for Mars's energy, it's much happier in a fire sign. Now, Mars in Leo again is going to make leaders feel like they are extremely powerful. And as a result of that, there's going to be some struggles because of this energy that's building, and we'll be talking about it over the next several days. But today, as Mars jumps in here and has a party for itself, it is trying to Neptune. So this is, again, positive, supportive energy. But like I said, with Neptune right now being, well, a little warlike, right? In the sign of Aries, which is war. And where Mars lives, there could be some conflict today. Now, again, it just depends on how you take advantage of this energy. You should use it for good, to do something fun, to do something you're passionate about, right? Not to be combative. But there will be people who take advantage of this energy and use it for not the best things. So don't let that person take advantage of you. But it can be a reset of things that can feel good and joyful and exciting again, right? Leo is a performer. It is an actor. It is a leader, and it's a lion, right? So it's a very powerful leader. So maybe we're seeing leaders that show up and want to start leading in a new way. So we will watch how this unfolds. Also, as we look at, let's see, anything else I want to cover on Friday? We talked about the sun here in Aries now that it was square Mars. It's going to also finish its time in the sign of Aries. So again, the things that move out of Aries, Mars moving out of Cancer, these aren't things that are going to help calm things down just a bit. Not immediately, but we can start to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, let's talk about Saturday. So on Saturday, we will see, like I said, the sun finish its time in the sign of Aries. So by the evening, the sun moves into Taurus. And again, Taurus is grounded. It slows things down a bit. It's earthy, feeling a little bit more secure with that type of energy going on. We still are seeing Uranus speaking directly with Venus, so there's still that excitability. Now, I'm just going to tell you, if you try to start a relationship this week, Uranus energy isn't lasting. So this is good for fun and excitement, but it's not good for stability. It's not good for stability for money. It's not good for stability for love. It is good for breaking out of old patterns in both areas, but don't expect anything started now to last a long time unless there's other things in your chart that would support something like that. All right. Then on Saturday, sorry, that was Saturday. Then on Sunday, again, now we're fully seeing the sun has moved into the sign of Taurus. We are fully seeing Mars into the sign of Leo. And now it's still squaring to the sun. So there's whatever this little ego conflict is, it may have changed slightly, but there's still conflict. And the sun in the sign of Taurus could suggest that the conflict went from two hotheads to using money as a weapon in some way. So again, when we have building conflicting energy, we just need to stay aware and be careful and don't get sucked into battles. Now, keep in mind, Saturn still talking with the North Node, talking with the South Node, teaching us what to let go of. Stop repeating these patterns. Give yourself healthy boundaries. So Saturn's working and giving us the plan to resolve all of these conflicts. We just have to tune in and listen. And like I always say, don't make Saturn mad. And then the moon today will be in Capricorn. That does help. Again, here it's speaking in harmony with the nodes. It's speaking in harmony with Uranus. It's speaking in harmony with Saturn and Venus. It's creating this kite formation. So there is an opportunity again for you, for your life, where something is available, but you have to do the work. I always say there's this kite and it's just laying on the ground, and the kite won't fly unless you pick it up and you provide the tension to lift whatever this is up for you. Same can be true for us as a whole, as a community. There's an opportunity, but we have to do the work in order to see it through. So that is how we will end the week. And it's building to next week. So challenges, some things that are frustrating, but a lot of opportunities. As we move into next week, the challenges will get a little bit more robust. So we'll have a T-square between the sun and Mars and Pluto. And this is the beginning of this Mars and Pluto opposition that will last for a few days. And the last time Mars and Pluto met was actually when Pluto was still in Capricorn. So we're talking last year. And Mars was actually in the sign of Cancer. That was when they were exact opposites. So now they're opposite again, but the challenge has changed slightly, right? Mars in Leo is a leader. Pluto in Aquarius is the people. And they are at odds with one another about money. And so there will be a big battle over this topic around these first few days through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And it will be on Friday of next week that this opposition grows in intensity. Saturday, still intense. Sunday, still intense. So there's definitely some challenges coming up next week that when you come back and tune in, we will go into more detail about. And we will also see new moon in the sign of Taurus. So this, to me, is what can potentially bring some relief to all of this conflict as far as the finances go and the financial markets go. Will it happen? We have the possibility and the potential. We just have to choose wisely. All right, guys. I know I moved us through kind of quick this week, but the energy as we hit the end of the sign of Pisces with everybody and these shifts and changes going on at the ends and the beginning means we are still in that slow moving changes for all of these planets. And soon, like June, things will start moving ahead a little bit faster. And then it'll be summer and it'll be retrograde season again. We just got a lot of work. This is 2025. It's for ending things. And endings take time, as I mentioned at the beginning. You don't want to rush through the last 20 pages of this book. Although I think a lot of people at this point probably wish they could, but we can't. So we're here to show up. I'm here to show up with you and guide you each and every step of the way. So thanks for tuning in. And again, pay attention to the daily tarot cards for more insight. Listen to the weekly tarot cards and this astro lesson. Read my content. I always give a little bit of nugget that's unique and different in each one of the platforms that I am using. So watch them all. All right, guys. Thank you. Keep me posted. Like, comment, share. I always answer back. So feel free to share with me what your experience has been so far. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Take care. Be sure and check out your weekly tarot card messages as well. Those, along with this astro lesson, are going to give you the big picture. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you next week.